Hey, what's up guys? This is Born, and this will be a quick video showing you what tasks you should skip, block, and do with Kuradal. This is only with Kuradal. I wouldn't suggest using this guide as a reference if you do not use Kuradal as your Slayer Master. Kuradal requires 75 Slayer for all of you who do not know. Before I begin, I think it's important that you read what I have on screen just real quickly. You can pause the video, or if you can read super duper fast, you don't even have to pause the video. Okay. Anyways, there are 3 things you can do with a task. You can block it, which costs 100 points, and that means it will never be assigned again, and it will also void your current task, the task that you blocked. You can skip it, which costs 30 points, and it will skip to a new random task, which won't be the task that you just skipped. And lastly, you can do it. Now, if you choose to do it, you'll get 18 points for completing the task, unless you have a task boost. If you don't know what a task boost is, for example, every 10th task you complete, you'll receive 90 points instead of 18 for it. And every 50th task you complete will receive 270 points instead of 18. And even if you block or skip a task with your Slayer points, it will still count to your tasks in a row. So let's say you have 9 tasks completed in a row and you block a task or you skip a task, and then you finish the 10th task, you will still get 90 points instead of 18. Now, before I explain what tasks you should block, skip, and complete, here's a quick list of all the Slayer monsters that Kuradal assigns that require less than 76 Slayer. And here is a quick list of the Slayer monsters that Kuradal can assign that's above 76 Slayer. Now, I went ahead and put the Slayer requirements on here because you won't have to worry about the tasks if you don't have a high enough Slayer level to actually get them, because she won't assign tasks that you do not have a high enough Slayer level to complete, obviously. Once again, before I explain what tasks you should block, skip, and complete, there are some things you need to consider yourself. A few of them would be the defense level of the monster, the life points of the monster, because 1/10 of the life points of the monster is how much Slayer XP it will give. Is it cannonable? Is it multi? Is it multi and cannonable? Is it good effigies? How long is the task? How long it takes to get to the task? Is it AFKable? Notable drops, and personal preference. Personally, do you enjoy the task? Now, these are all very important things you need to consider, because even though I'm going to try to give you a good idea of what you need to block, skip, and complete, there's still some things that are going to be left up to you. Now, there's no real difference between blocking and constantly skipping the tasks, except you would want to block a task that is more common, and you would want to skip the more rare tasks that you wouldn't want to do. Now, even though there are a lot of tasks there are way more tasks than there are block spots, every 50 quest points you have will be a block spot that you have. So you can have up to, at this moment, 6 block spots, and there are way more tasks than that you are going to want to never do again. So with that being said, it doesn't really matter what you block, because you're also going to have tasks that you're always just going to skip anyways. So you just want to block the more common tasks and the more dreadful tasks that you couldn't do in case you ran out of points. Alright, let's get on with it. Tasks you always want to block or skip. Acquaintees, if you haven't unlocked these yet, you never want to unlock them. Desert strike worms, never ever do those. Griffaloos and Griffopines, I've never had them, so I cannot personally say, but I'm pretty certain they're slow XP, just because you have to mage them, and unless you're going to use the Arma spell, it's probably not going to be great XP. Jungle strike worms, also always block and skip. Spiritual mages, warped tortoises, and lastly, water fiends. Now, the thing about water fiends is they are great crimson charms, but they're really bad Slayer XP. But if you are doing Slayer just for summoning XP, then you might actually want to do these. So yeah, again, I can't tell you every task that you need to block or need to skip, because I can't personally speak for each and every one of you. So I'll try my best to make the exceptions, like water fiends are really good charm droppers, and etc. Up next, we have tasks that you should usually skip. A lot of these are dependent on your summoning level, because if you have a Steel Titan, they could be bearable, but if you don't, they could be just awful. So, Abyssal Demons, decent money, however, slow XP, and they're not really AFKable whatsoever. Again, remember I put like 10 things up on screen earlier about what you should consider if you're going to skip or block or complete a task, and you should always take into consideration for these, which is what I did. Blue dragons, I actually do these because I somewhat enjoy them. However, I only do them if there's less than like 140 of them that Kuradal assigns, and I do them in Kuradal's dungeon. Dust devils, I never do those anymore. Also, if you don't have a Steel Titan and you can't do them in the Chaos Tunnels, I wouldn't even bother with them, or at least an Iron Titan. Fire giants, again, I used to do them, but I don't do them anymore. Gargoyles, I kind of like these, but I still don't do them because they're bad XP. You can't really cannon them, and they're not, you can't multi-cannon them. And living rock creatures, they're not great EXP. They're cannonable, but they're not multi, and they're really spread out, which really affects If you're meleeing, it's really kind of slow because you have to run all the way back to the cannon to fill it up. Mutated Jadinkos, I don't do any of them, especially the babies or the guards. However, you can do the males. It's a 3-hour task, so prepare yourself for that. It's very boring. However, they're pretty good effigies, and they're not bad money with the whip vines. Necreals are slow EXP. Even with the Titan, they're not quite like a cannon task is. And Skeleton Wyverns, not only do you need a DFS for them, but they're just really non-AFKable, not good EXP at all. And so yeah, I skip every task here, except for the exception of blue dragons if it's a low amount. And last but not least are the tasks that you should complete. Aberrant Spectres, if you can't do them in the Smoky Well with a full Slayer helmet, if you can't cannon them in multi, then don't bother doing them. Black Demons, if you're not going to cannon them, I wouldn't bother doing them. Slayer in general, if you don't cannon it, I don't even see why you would train it. Black Dragons are good regardless of if you cannon or not. They're a quick task as well. Blood Velds are excellent. They're actually one of my favorite tasks, not just because that they're extremely good EXP in I do the mutated Blood Velds, by the way, but not just because they're great EXP because you can cannon them and Steel Titan them, but the fact that they're relatively high level and they last a lot longer than most other multi-cannonable tasks, such as Dagonoths. See, I would much rather have a Blood Veld task than a Dagonoth task, even though Dagonoths are a little bit quicker EXP per hour. Blood Velds, they last much longer, so you get a lot more EXP from the task. Dagonoths, again, you want to do those in the, the Lighthouse, yeah. They're great EXP. Dark Beasts are really good, especially if you cannon them in the Temple, and even in Kuradals, they're alright. Also, a thing you should note about those is they are good droppers of effigies, charms, and they are good because they are always aggressive, so you can AFK. Greater Demons, I made a video where I do all the cannon spots, so I'm not going to extensively go over it, but Greater Demons I do in the Ferenthy dungeon. I wouldn't do them if you're not going to do them there. Ganodermic Creatures, I cannon them. Hellhounds, I cannon them in the Resource dungeon. Iron Dragons, Steel Dragons, I do in the Kuradal's dungeon, or, well, Kuradal, I guess. It's spelled Kuradal, but yeah. Ice Strike Worms, I do them in the Ice Strike Worm layer. Calfights, I do in the Do No Evo layer. I cannon them, it's multi. Mythal Dragons, the reason I do them is because you only get assigned, I think, 3 to 12 or something. It's an extremely quick task. It's like a 5-minute, or it's like less than a 5-minute task, which is just really good points. And you have to take into consideration points, because those are the things that get you to 99. I mean, if you had to do every task that you were assigned, Slayer would be twice as slow. So points are extremely important. Steel Dragons, I mentioned, I do them in Kuradals. Sukwas, they're really quick task. Again, they're like a 10 to 15 minute task. Obviously, it does take a while to get to Lunar Isle if you're not on Lunars. And also, people were mentioning using NPC contact. However, I do use the Arma spell. This was last video. Anyways, so yeah, you can't really do that if you use the Arma spell, but it would be good if you were on Lunars for this. So yeah, Sukwas are good. Terror Dogs are also good just because it's multi, even though you can't set up a cannon. You can use a Steel Titan or an Iron Titan, and you only get assigned about 60 of them, so it's a quick task, and that's good points. And Tizar, I would obviously only do it if you made it into a Jad task, which would label it as Volcanic Creatures. And again, I can just AFK that in Virtus with Arma spell, or you can do it however you wish with Polypore Staff or with ranged. And you can AFK most of the beginning waves anyways, so yeah. And Viral Watch, one of the most AFKable tasks out there. And it's just good because you can use the pole arm, which hits like 800 or like thousands on them, depending if you did the little sub quest thing, I think it is, where you have to burn the corpses of the Viral Watch, I think. I'm not certain how to do it. I haven't done it, but I'm really close to 99 Slayer anyways. And so I'm not really going to get many more tasks, so it wouldn't really benefit me to do that. But again, it's a great task, so all these tasks you should definitely do. I want to thank you guys for watching the video. I hope I helped some people out, and I also want to mention that the While Simon Sleeps episode 3 should be out either this Friday, which would be tomorrow, or it should be out next Monday. So hopefully it'll be then, and we got Godsword set from scratch for this weekend. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed again, and thank you for watching once again.